Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone can hear us. If somebody in the chat could just either raise a hand or just give me a note saying that, yes, you hear us, everything's good. Okay, great. Thank you. My name is Keith Henderson. I'm the Director of the Division of Local Planning Services at the Department of Community Affairs. And we are in the process of developing a new system to replace what was the old COA tracking and monitoring system, or CTM, that many of you may be familiar with. For those of you who aren't familiar with that, it was a system that was used by COA back in the day to track things like the Affordable Housing Trust Fund collections and expenditures and the production of new affordable housing units with all the details associated with those units. There were also a lot of other components of that system that were used by the COA staff at the time to track the process of submitting petitions for substantive certification and moving through the whole process. So there were a lot of timeline and project management types of fields and data collection pieces. And the system was used for just managing that whole process. We're no longer doing that part of the process because a lot of it's going to be done by the Administrative Office of the Courts now under what they're calling the Affordable Housing Dispute Resolution Program. So really all we're focusing right now on is going to be the trust fund and unit monitoring information. So amendments to the Fair Housing Act and other parts of the law signed by the governor back in March delegate certain responsibilities to DCA, specifically the collection of the trust fund monitoring and the detailed information on housing completions. Our office is also going to be responsible for establishing an administrative agent and municipal housing liaison certification program. We won't be talking about administrative agents and MHLs today. We're only focusing on the reporting system and the new system that we'll be rolling out to replace the old CTM system. At the moment, we're calling it the Affordable Housing Monitoring System, or AHMS. That might change with an acronym letter or two change, not sure yet. But so AHMS will incorporate a lot of the same features that the previous legacy system had, but it's going to be streamlined, a little bit more user-friendly, and easier for everybody to use. We've got a September 16th deadline for municipalities to submit the required Affordable Housing Trust Fund monitoring and municipal housing completion monitoring. And the new Affordable Housing Monitoring System will be the platform by which that reporting must be submitted. I know that there's probably folks out there that have some paper records that they'd like to be able to submit, and that's nice. Unfortunately, we need to be able to collect all of those data and amalgamate them and report them back out to the public and to the legislature in some sort of a common form. And just imagine if we had 564 paper reports and a staff of 2 to do it. It's not going to be anything that's going to be pretty that gets out to the website. So what we're trying to do is work together as a team and sort of enlist all of the municipal users that are out there. So we have an army of 564 or more people doing that work. If everybody chips in a little bit and does the part that represents their municipal efforts, I think at the end of the day, we'll be able to produce something that the governor's office and the legislature and the public will be happy about. So this is the third of 4 webinars like this. The webinars are all covering the same information, so it's not like you have to come to each one separately or anything like that. Certainly, if you miss one or if you miss some of it, you can come back. We will also be making a recording of these webinars that we'll be posting on our website. So I probably should have said something about that up front, but yes, this is being recorded, and hopefully you're okay with that. If you're not, then you should probably leave. So our new system is being built by a company called CSI Technologies, and we've been working with them for a few months now. It's been a very fast-track project in response to the legislation that was just recently adopted, as you know, and we've had to react to it very quickly. So our initial focus is just on getting the bare bones essentials available to help all of you with the required reporting. There is definitely going to be future updates and improvements made as more time allows, and we'll be using some of the, once the system gets up and running and folks are using it, and you want to provide some feedback on issues that you encounter, whatever, we're going to be open to listening to what those issues are and doing our best to incorporate any upgrades or improvements that are workable into future releases of the system. So CSI has incorporated a lot of the information that was in the previous CTM system. And I just want to assure you that as the old system closes, which we anticipate is going to be on the evening of September 2nd, all of the information entered historically up until then will be migrated into the new system. And so this has been an issue that's come up a couple of times. So I'm going to say it again. I want to assure you that all information entered into the legacy CTM system will be migrated into the new system. We've run tests with data that's in the existing system, exported it into the new system, and cross-checked everything for accuracy, and everything worked perfectly. There were no data errors, there were no mismatches. Everything was exactly perfect. So you need not worry about whether there's going to be any errors and whether you should be worried about entering information into the legacy system when a new system is right around the corner. All those data will be exported after the old system closes and fully incorporated completely and accurately into the new system. I don't know if I can make that any more clear. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce John Porter from CSI Technologies and his partner, Anthony Scroy, who will be talk a little bit first about the processes of getting everybody into the new system, and then how the new system is going to be working and what it looks like. And at the end of our discussion today, we should have a little bit of time for some Q&A. And everybody's microphones are currently muted. At the end of this session, if things work properly, you should be able to raise your hand with one of those little buttons up top, and we'll be able to unmute you so you can ask a question. And if that doesn't work the way it's supposed to, you can ask questions in the chat. We'll try to answer those as we're going along. And hopefully everything will be smooth with being able to raise hand and ask questions verbally later. So that being said and done, John, if you're ready, you're on.
Thank you. Thank you, Keith. Can you let me know when you see my screen or my screen showing?
You're good, John.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. As Keith mentioned, my name is John Porter. I'm with the CSI Technology Group, and along with me is my colleague, Anthony Scroy. We are the vendor that is helping Keith and his staff with designing the system and maintaining it. What we're going to show you today, I'm going to show you the portal site. Anthony is going to show you the admin site and how to navigate and use each. Everything you're seeing today, we're showing you from our development sites. So what you see today won't be an exact match of what you see when you start accessing the system when it goes live on September 6th. It's still being developed. There's updates that are applied on almost a daily basis. So when you eventually have access to log into the system, if it doesn't look exactly like what you're seeing today, or if you watch the videos in the future to refresh your memories to what we discussed, all the functionality is going to be the same. It's just cleaning up and adjusting some of the things that you are on the page and all. So just wanted to mention that up front, that we're still in the development stage, so some things might appear differently when you actually log into the production site. And also, if you are an existing user in the COA system, your account will be migrated to the new application. So, you don't have to worry about having to re-register or anything like that. Your existing account will carry over to the new system. The page that you're looking at currently, this is the Affordable Housing Monitoring System portal page. This is the page, well, it's kind of got a dual purpose. The primary purpose is that new users, this is where you would go to register for an account. If you don't have an account in the current COA system, but you need one for the new system, this is the page you would visit. The URL hasn't been finalized yet, so once that's locked in, I'm sure Keith will be pushing that out to let you know the URL to reach this page once it's in production. But if you do not have an account in the current system and you need one, this is the page you would visit to do that. And also, if you are already registered or you're going to apply for an account, and once that's approved, you can also return to this page to actually log into the site too. We're going to cover all that and show you step by step how this works. So this the page or the portal right now, it's a simple 2-page design. I'm sure as time goes on, there will be things added to it, but to just get things up and running, it's 2 pages currently, and I'll explain everything that is currently or will be available when the system goes live. First one, home page button, is what it says. Anywhere you're at in this application, if you click the home button, it'll bring you right back to the home page. So 2 pages right now, so you won't need to use this often, but there is a home page button. The FAQ, frequently asked questions page, will be built in the future. So eventually, as feedback is received from the users of the system, we could the Keith's office can post the most commonly asked questions with their answers on this page. So in the event you do have a question in the future, or any other users, most likely that question has been asked before, and the answer will be posted on the FAQ page, so you don't have to email or call Keith's office. But that's coming. And then the instructions for registrations link. So everything we're going to discuss today will be reduced to a step-by-step document that will be available for download through the instructions for registration link. So, if you forget what we talked about today, or if the recording isn't accessible, the instructions will always be available. Next is the button to register for municipal service accounts. So again, if you don't have an existing account in the COA system, that will be migrated over. If you do need a new account, you would just click this button to start the process. And then once you do have an account, or if you already have an account, or if in the future you have an account, you can click the municipal service account login button to sign in to the new application. Here's some information about the system, and this button here to click here to start the registration process. This button has the same functionality as clicking the button up here. It's just we put it in 2 places for convenience purposes. In addition to that, there's contact information for Keith's office. So in the event you need some assistance in the future, that information will be readily available here. Their website, their email address, and their office number. And then just a legal disclaimer here as well. Like I said, pretty simple layout for now, but as time goes on, I'm sure there'll be additional information added. So if you need to register for an account, come to the page when it's available, and you can either click the register for municipal service account or the start registration process button, and that's going to direct you to this page where it just asks for some simple information. Any field that is marked with the red asterisk means that information is required. If you don't, at a minimum, fill in the required fields, you won't be able to submit your registration request. As you can see, the submit registration button is currently deactivated, and that's because there's a lot of some required information that you have to fill in first. So pretty simple. All that's required here is your first name, and I'm just going to put in some simple test data. Your last name. So middle name not required, but if you want it, if you're you like to use your middle name, certainly you can add it. If you use a suffix on your name, this is a dedicated support file that you can choose the suffix for your name. County. So here is where you would select the county that your municipality is located in. So if I was in New Brunswick in Middlesex County, I would first select Middlesex, and then all the municipalities within Middlesex would be available here. And I would just scroll down to New Brunswick and select it. Next would be your title. your email address. There's you have to confirm your email address to, confirm that it was entered correctly. The email address is, very important and required because that's how you're going to receive notification through the system, primarily being when your account request has been reviewed and approved and or denied. Telephone number. So this would be the telephone number that you could be reached at in the event that Keith's office has any questions about the information listed in your registration request. And then the verification code, which is displayed on the right, to the right of the field in this gray box. So now that even though we have the required fields filled in, our submit registration button is still deactivated. And that's because there are two certifications that have to be acknowledged before the button will light up. And they're listed here in the registration certification section. The first one is that I acknowledge that by submitting this application, I am authorized to act as a user for one or more municipal jurisdictions. Then the second is that pursuant to Rule 1:4-4, I understand that by clicking the Submit Request button, I'm certifying that the foregoing statements made by me are true. I am aware that if any of the foregoing statements made by me are willingly false, I am subject to punishment. So to acknowledge them, you simply click, check the checkbox. And as soon as that's done, you see now your Submit Registration button has activated. So since this is a development site, this isn't fully connected to the My New Jersey system yet. So once you click the Submit Registration button, you're going to be directed to the My New Jersey site. And what the page is going to ask is whether or not you have a My New Jersey account. If you do have a My New Jersey account, which I suspect most attendees in this meeting will, if you're municipal employees, is that if you would select yes, and then it would ask for you to just input your username and your username and password for your My New Jersey account, because the state requirement is that, to access the current COA system, you do that through your My New Jersey account. It's going to work the same way for the new application. So you have to link your affordable housing monitoring system account to your My New Jersey account so you can access it once your account's approved. If you don't have a My New Jersey account, you would select no on that page, and it would provide you the opportunity to create one right from the page. And you can create it at the same time you're submitting your request for the affordable housing account. So it's a basic two-step process at this point. Once you link to the My New Jersey account or create a new My New Jersey account, your request will then be submitted to Keith's office, where there's a review process. And then ultimately, when your account's approved, you will receive an email notification as such. And what will happen is, the current My New Jersey role or tile to access the COA system looks like this. Well, there'll be a new tile for the new system. So again, if you're an existing user of the COA system, you're going to see, once this goes into production, you're going to see a new tile in your My New Jersey account. But for those of you that may not have an existing COA account, once your account request is approved, it will be automatically added to your My New Jersey account. And then once you need to access the system, you can either go directly to your My New Jersey account and click, the COA tile or the affordable housing tile, or come right back here if this is easy for you to come to this site, and you can just click the municipal service login. And we're getting a server error because we're not connected to the My New Jersey yet. But if we were, you would see the My New Jersey login page here. So that is how this page will work, again, when it goes into production on Friday, September 6th. Keith, is there anything I missed or anything you'd like me to discuss in more detail?
Yep, I think that pretty much covers it. I think, the way the system works is that once you have that My New Jersey account set up, the email that you use to register, you will receive an authorization code from the My New Jersey system. And there's a tab at the top of the My New Jersey page that says add authorization code. You just click on that, you enter the code that was sent to you via email, and that's what's gonna populate your My New Jersey account with that new tile. And I think the way the system currently works, after you do the authorization code entry, you have to sign out of My New Jersey and sign back in for it to activate. But once you do that once, it'll be done forever. That's it.
Thank you, Keith. So Anthony, I will turn it over to you so you could show everyone the admin site.
Very good. So let me share my screen. John, just let me know when you see my screen, please.
It's up. We're seeing
Okay,
it.
great. All right, everyone. So again, my name's Anthony. Again, I work alongside John with CSI, who's developing the software you see in front of you right now. As John had stated before, after you go through my New Jersey process, once you click that tile, it's going to bring you right to this screen. There's no additional logins needed to get into this screen. And what you see here is the basic layout of our software. While we do anticipate changes daily, there could be, generally speaking, nothing on the screen you really will see changing as the layout. Everything will look the same as you see right now, but there may be new inboxes, new links, new items added. There may be stuff removed that are no longer needed. But as of right now, this is the layout of how our software works. So the first thing I just want to do is I want to run through how our application is visible to you and how you go through it and use it. Okay, so along the top of the screen, obviously we have our banner here. It says affordable housing. Over to the right over here is you have your name when you're logged in and your log out button. This information here, there's a profile information here that is controlled by the My New Jersey account. That's not really handled in here. Again, just like on the website, we have a home button. So anywhere in the application, you click the home button, it will bring you back to this page. Going down the left-hand side, this is the module we're in, the affordable housing module. And then the menu bar on the left. In your main menu, you're going to have multiple transactions. Right now, the view I'm in, this login is a trust fund monitor view. So it's the roles and the permissions that go with the trust fund monitors. So the trust fund monitor is able to add a transaction or do a plan search or a project search and a trust fund transaction search. If you notice here, I have a favorite menu on the top. Any of these items here that have the star, but then it's not gold, it's not yellow. If you click on that star, it will then be in your favorites. So anything you use on a normal basis, you can add to your favorites menu where you only have to go to one spot. The inbox in the middle, the inbox summary, this is where any inboxes that you have access to. And again, this works on permission. So if when I show you the next login, which is the unit monitoring and project monitoring, there'll be two different links inside this inbox. This is where we may see things change as the software progresses and capabilities are changed. You may see additional links to help us try to segregate data more efficiently for the user. But as of right now, the trust fund monitor will see one inbox as you get into the system. If you notice there's a number 1 here, this number 1 means that there's one active plan inside that inbox. If you're a user that has access to multiple towns, say you're a consultant and you handle 5 different towns, and each town has its own plan. So you'll see the number 5 here. So you'll know you have 5 active plans. As of right now, we're dealing with a user with only one active plan, one jurisdiction that this person handles. All right, so I'm going to go into the My Active Plans inbox, and it's going to list all my active plans. And it shows this one here. I'm based in, this is Allendale out of Bergen County. Gives you a plan version. It's a current, it's the current plan. It is being monitored, and there's some assigned staff here. Now, again, all the data you're going to see here is from the legacy system. This is all the data that came from the old system and was brought into this system, which Keith had said before. We have been checking it and confirming it, and all the data seems perfect from what we can see that was brought over. So all the data is all here. So I'm going to be looking at the trust fund monitoring in this situation. So I want to go into municipality. And then I have tabs across the top of the screen. Okay, this is, if anyone is familiar with the old system, it was tab-based. There were tabs across the top of the screen. We work similarly. Okay, first off, you can see across the header on the top, it shows what municipality I'm in. So if that person is dealing with multiple municipalities, you can always look at the top of the screen to see which municipality you're working in. And it also gives you a plan version you're working in. Then there's the tabs across the top that are all permission based. So again, other users or other user roles or permissions will have different tabs. The first one is the plan summary. Again, just very basic information about the plan. Your next tab is your contact tab. Okay, where it's going to give you your plan contact list and your trust fund contact list. We are adding the ability to be able to have the trust fund monitor add trust fund contacts to this list that is in being worked on currently as we speak. So like I said, next time when you log in or next time I do this demo, there may actually be an add button here where you're able to add a contact to this list. The next tab is the trust fund tab, which is the meat and potatoes of this login. So I click on the trust fund tab. And again, here's all the information. If anyone's familiar with the old systems, look somewhat similar. Across the top, going through the screen, we have the trust fund bank, which is the bank name, bank account information. The trust fund detail gives all the information about when the fund was started and all the dates that are incorporated into that section. Any residential information is listed here. And here is the meat and potatoes of the trust fund transaction area. This is where anyone's going to be doing any work in the fund will be working normally. So we shows our total income, our total expenditures, our balance in the account currently to date. And then we have our income section and we have our expenditure section. There are amounts that are listed here, which are the current amounts in that account, in that section of the income section. If you want to see the transactions from any of these lines, you click the open button on the right over here. And this will show you all the transactions within that section. Now, if you notice here, there are 599 records in this section. Got that? 599 records in this section, but we're only displaying 30 right now. So if I wanted to expand more and show more on the page so I don't have to keep clicking next, we will allow you up to 400 items per screen. But if you wish, you can just click the next button and it will bring you to the next 30 items. Just a little bit about any of the screens you will see in our application. Any of our applications where you see on the right-hand side over here, you'll see an Excel logo and a PDF logo. If you wish to export these 599 records out to Excel, you can simply click this Excel button and it'll automatically download a Excel spreadsheet with all this data in it, where you then can manipulate that data as you see fit. If you download a PDF document, it will just merely be a print only. Obviously, you can't edit PDFs. That'll only be for a print only version. Also, if you notice on any of the columns that are marked with, this one has a little triangle and these have squares. Those are sorting buttons where you can sort by those columns. Right now it's being sorted by date. It's the oldest date on top. So if I click the triangle button here, it's gonna flip around and you see this is the most current data. Okay, and you can sort any of these you wish. So if you want to look at all the, if you know there's multiple transactions, all for 123 Main Street, and you want to sort by address, you can go down and find 123 Main Street. You can see all the transactions from that address. So all of these open buttons on the right-hand side over here will function the same. So any one you click will show you all the transactions for the proper line you're clicking open from. On the expenditure side, we have the ability to do the same thing. So if we have administrative costs, if we click open over here, again, it'll give you all the transactions, which is the same view as we just looked at. But within this administrative costs, there's other items. So if you click your summary tab, the summary button, it will give you any of the items that are underneath the administrative costs. So this will split them out a little further so you can see more detail. And again, this works for any of them that have data in them. It will show you how it's broken down within that category. So this is how the display works, how you can see all the data. Now, to manipulate the data to add transactions, you simply click the add button next to the trust fund transaction. It would automatically default to the municipality you're working in. And then from here, this is where you can enter any income or expenditure from the same screen. So you'll simply click category, you'll choose which type you want. So we're going to put in here, we're going to do an expenditure of an administrative cost as a test. And if you noticed, all the screen changed. All the fields on this screen are dynamically connected to what type of expenditure or income. So if I change the income for developmental fees, it'll give you the information more about the location. So any of these will change. And it shows that, it's all dynamically connected so you're only putting in what you need to put in for that expenditure. There are some required fields. So if it is marked with REQ, it is required to save the record. So next one over, we're going to go and we're going to take what type of item, what type of expenditure we're going to enter. So we're going to choose a consulting fee just for this test. The transaction date would be your transaction date. I'm going to choose today. The amount, I'm going to put $5,000 in there, and description, payment to attorney. Okay. And once I click save, now if you wait a second, the screen just did refresh. I don't know if you could see it on the video, but it did flash quickly, which means that the screen did update. Now I added an expenditure for administrative costs. So if I go into my open for administrative costs, I'm going to resort my data. And here's the expenditure I just put into the system of $5,000 for a payment to attorney, and it's dated today. That is how you add any type of expenditure or income. It's the same exact process, and it all depends on which category you choose, what type you choose, and what fields you enter. So that is the way you enter your transactions into the trust fund. The next tab over is our spending plan. Anyone, again, familiar with the old system, this screen will mimic the old system to show all your information. We're not going to go very detailed into this because we really want to just get you down on how to add the trust fund information in. But this is all your historical data for all the other information in the system, again, from all the legacy data from the prior system. Our system also allows you to upload documents. At this time, it will be up to Keith to say if any kind of documents are required. Again, that's information will be given in the future, but we do have the ability to upload documents to the system. And very easy to upload a document. So you're going to simply go over on the right-hand side where it says batch upload. You're going to click batch upload. And then you're going to, 3 buttons on the bottom, add, upload, and remove. You're going to click add new files. And from in here, you're going to go on your computer and find your documents. I'm going to upload a couple documents. And if you shift click the buttons, it will select multiple documents at the same time. I'm going to click open, and you'll see it'll list all the documents here I'm ready to upload. When I know that I'm ready to go and upload, if I want to remove any of the files, I can simply click the red X on the right-hand side over here. And we're going to click upload files, and they're going to upload one by one. The screen, it's going to tell me success. And it's going to be to the next page where I put them in a folder. Now, since there's multiple folders in the Documents tab, you're able to choose what folder you want to put them in. So if it's in the Documents category, and this one, these are going to go in the Trust Fund folder, because we're in the Trust Fund login. You would think that that's what you'll be putting your documents into. We also have the ability, if you know all 4 documents go into the same folder, you can select all on the bottom, and then we can choose across here, we can choose the folder for all the documents. So these drop downs on the bottom refer to the select all button, which will then apply to all of these. And then we can say save. In my second. Apply to check. You have to click the button apply to checked over here. I missed that part. I apologize. So you select all your folders. You click apply to checked, and it, you notice it fills all the drop downs in, and you hit save. Now, if you notice here, before there were 2 documents in here, now there's 6. If I click the trust fund folder, it will open up the folder to show all the documents we have in here. And you'll see they are ordered here alphabetically, but here you can see the 4 documents from today, 8/29, all 4 of them. Now, if you'd like to view one of these documents individually, you can click the link and it will download a copy of the file for you. Or if you wish to just view them in the browser without downloading them, you can click the View Document button on the top right of the screen. It will open a new window, where on the left-hand side, you'll notice you have all your documents listed. You can go and then click each button, each file name, and it will load the file for you. If for some reason you upload the wrong document, at this time, you're going to have to reach out to Keith's office to have a document deleted. There is no delete feature for the users at this point. So again, please be sure that you're uploading the correct documents to the correct trust funds, so we don't have to worry about trying to delete documents or change them. Okay, so we're going to close that window. Okay, so that covers the trust fund monitoring login. Does anyone have any questions? You can throw them in the chat if there's nothing in there so far. Is there any questions so far before we move on to the project? Don't see anything. I'll give it a couple seconds. All right, John, is there anything I missed for this login?
No, I think you covered it all. Thank you.
Okay, so now for this will be the unit project monitor login. Again, when you're in your My New Jersey page, if you click on that new icon you're going to see in your dashboard, it's going to bring you directly to this page as a single sign-on. Now, the first thing you can notice between the two pages is this login does have two different entries in their first inbox. They have the active plans and their projects. But going down the left-hand side of the page, what's a little bit different here is you have different search capabilities. We're not going to go into each individual right now, but you do have a different search. You have a unit search here versus the other one had a trust fund search. Okay. So just to cover these two inboxes, my municipality's active plans is one here. Again, if you were a consultant for multiple towns and you have multiple plans you're dealing with and you had 5, this would say to 5 in there. It would be listed 5. Again, it's the same exact logic as the first login we went over. This inbox, My Municipality Active Projects, this will show you all the active projects, no matter what municipality they're in. So again, if you have 5 different jurisdictions, you're going to have all the projects from all the jurisdictions. Okay. So right now I'm a one municipality user. So these are all the current projects that are listed under Allendale for the active, for the current plan. So if you needed to access any of these, you could simply click on the link here and it would access that plan. I'm going to go back home now. And since the biggest part of the system now and with everyone is tasked with is getting data into the system. So we're going to run through how to get data into the system. So to put a new project in, to put units in, is pretty straightforward. First thing you're going to do is you're going to access the active plan. So I'm going to do that by clicking My Municipality's Active Plans. If you had multiple plans in here, you want to access the proper plan. So we're going to click on Allendale. Now, if you notice again, it's the same as before. It tells me in the top, I'm in Bergen-Allendale. I'm in what plan I'm in. Now, in here, you'll notice that these tabs are a little bit different from the trust fund monitoring, since the unit and project manager does not have access to the unit monitoring. Strike that, to the trust fund. I apologize. Again, the first tab is the plan summary. Then we have our project tab. I'm going to come back to this and we're going to review that last. Then we have our RCA partner tab, which, because RCA partners does not exist in the new legislation, this is historical data only. So there'll be no editing or modifying in this data since it's all historical. You have a contact tab, which is just like the unit monitor, the project monitor tab, the fund monitor tab. Again, we are going to be adding a new link for adding, not in this field, but when we get inside the project. And then again, the document tab works exactly the same way as it did, as I previously showed you a couple minutes ago. So if we go to our project tab, the project tab, again, this is the same exact list as we saw earlier in the other inbox. The biggest difference here is now we have an add project button at the top right of the screen. So we're going to click add project. It's going to automatically default to the municipality that you're currently logged into, or meaning that the plan you're logged into, that's the municipality it will show. We're going to create a new project. I'm going to hit next. There's much less to enter now that there was in the previous system. And I know that originally entry for new projects hasn't been available on the old system for a while, but there is a capability now for the project to be entered by the municipalities directly. So we're going to run through adding a project here. So simply put a project name in here. And what type of project? And here we're going to pick you can pick anything you wish. We're going to put a new construction, 100% affordable. You're going to pick an address. If you have a building, a suite, or an apartment, you can enter in that field. You're going to pick your city, your update. Zip code, if you know the acreage amount of the parcel size that you're working with, you can enter it here. I know 4 acres in Allendale is probably not really realistic, but we're going to put 4 acres in there. Again, any of the fields here that are not required, that don't have REQ and not required, but we always say that if a field is there and you have the data, you should enter the data because it makes it much easier later on to do searches and to pull data from the system. If you have a density, you can put a density in, a set aside percentage. Your project sponsor type is what type of sponsor is doing this affordable housing. So we're going to put nonprofit developed. We're going to put the sponsor name, the nonprofit association. The project developer, we're going to give it to ABC Construction, who's going to be building this for us. The subtype, what type of buildings are they? So we're going to call this one a group home. The construction type, it's going to be new construction or rehab or unknown. We're going to call it new because we know it's new. Any funds that are committed, we're going to give them $200,000 for the funds. Any funds that were previously expended for it already, or any funds expended for admin costs. If you have an average range of affordability, you put your percentage in here. Any payment in lieu of growth share amount would go in this field. Payment in lieu of growth share units would go in this field. If you have your fund, if you know what your funding sources are, you can choose them from this list. It is a pretty long list, and you can choose multiple items. So if I know that I'm pulling from multiple funding sources, I can select multiple funding sources. The effective dated affordable controls. So if we know that it's going to be, today is when it starts and we have to have the affordable set. And then we know we have to decide what the length of affordability controls is. Is it perpetual or non-perpetual? If it's perpetual, you simply click the radio button for perpetual. If it's not perpetual, you're going to get a dynamic field to show up over here that will show what the length is. So in here, if we know that the affordability has got to be last for at least 10 years, we're going to put a 10 in there. If the affordable controls are ever removed, the date would go into this area here. Or if it was monitored last and the last date of monitoring, if it was updated, the system, so if you were changing any information in here, you would enter the date in here. And if you have any text for the waiver, if there's a waiver in the system, you would put your information in this field. Okay. Once you completed at minimal all your required fields, you click the save button. And it's going to bring you to the project. So this is the project page. And if you notice, there's even different tabs in this section. There's a project summary tab, which is the one, basically all the summary information we just put in. So it has the project header, and you will see there are certain fields here that weren't in the page we just completed. Some of these items are from the legacy data from the old system. So if you went into an old project, you would need to see these fields to see that data. So just because a field is empty, I wouldn't worry about it. As long as you filled in those fields when you did the first initial entry, you should be good. If you click the update button, it will allow you to update any of the fields that we just entered. If you know if there's multiple block and lot numbers, so if with that 4 acres that we have here, if they subdivided it into 8 pieces and now we have 8 different block and lots, you can actually add all the block and lot numbers in here for your reference. If there's any low-income housing credits, you can add them here. The status of you should always keep the status updated. So when we add a status, we're going to put the status is today, and the status description we're going to put here is under construction. Okay, but again, this is a pretty comprehensive list of all different statuses you can use. I'm going to put under construction. I'm going to put this as the current status. As the project moves along and we did some work on it, you can go and add another status to it. So if we want to move it to, there was a settlement agreement done, and that was done today also, and I can mark this one as current. It'll actually add on in a historical fashion all the information here. Now, if the under construction one is not current any longer, I can actually change this one to no. So you can only, so if you want to have just one current status, you can do so. Right now, the name of this project is Project for Training. Maybe that's not good enough for you and you want to rename it. You can click the add button down here, and we can simply put a new name in here and click save. If you notice, it will leave the old original name here and it'll add the new name at the bottom as historical information. And we'll also change the project name to new name in the main part of the screen. Okay. The units page is where you put your units in. This is the nut and bolts of this part of the application for this user, for this group permission type. To add a unit to the system, we simply click the add button. Okay. And we're going to put our address in here. If you know your lot and block number, you can add it here also. Any qualifier number you have or unit apartment, let's call this was an apartment building, say so there's going to be apartment B2 we're working on. A category is a required field and you can choose any that apply. So if I'm going to call this, it's going to be a 1-bedroom and it's going to be a low income. And then we can choose any flags that we need to. If the city is a hardship waiver or foreclosure involved in this one, it won't be for it's in its new construction. It wouldn't be. We're going to call it an estate flag. And now, because this is a new construction that we're talking about, you're going to make sure all your new construction information is filled out. So the housing type, we're going to call it a condo. The building permit completion date, so the date the building permit was completed, you would fill in the date here. The CO number you get after that CO is issued, you put your CO number here and the date it was issued. And then the initial price of each of the unit. The affordability percentage. I honestly don't know how that number works, but I will tell you, you have to put a percentage in there, according to Keith. If there's any subsidy municipality-wise, you could put the subsidy amount, and you could put a date and self-transfer in there. If this was a rehab unit, you would put a final inspection date. If there were any repairs made to that unit, is this where you would select that area? So if this was a rehab unit, and we fixed the electrical system and the sanitary septic system, you would select those 2 items. You'd put in here how much you spent on the repairs. Any development fees that you expended on would go in this field. Any funds recaptured during this would be put in here. For all of the units, you must fill in the bottom part also. So the effective date affordable controls. Again, this is similar to what was in the plan when we originally set, but let's say each unit is going to have their own set of dates. We're going to put today's date. It's going to be perpetual. So we're going to put 10 years in for this one. Again, if the date was removed, you'd put it in this field. If the controls were removed, you put it in this field. And this is how many completed units or creditworthy units that are here, which is 1. We're going to click the save button. And now it's going to be listed here. Okay. Now, if you want to add, if you have, let's say this condo has 3 units, you'd simply repeat that process to do each unit, since they all maybe have different items and qualifiers and maybe different flags. So each one would have to be put in separately. So you would keep doing that until all your units are in for this specific project called new name. The next tab along the top would be our projects count button. Anyone who's used the old system may recognize this screen. It looks very similar. Just bear with me. Again, we're on a developmental site, so it may be a little laggy. So in here is where your project counts will be. And if you notice over here, the one we just put in was low income. Okay, we marked it as completed, and we marked it was creditworthy also. So it was a low income 1-bedroom unit. So it will be on this chart for you to see all the units that are connected to this project and how they fit into this chart. The next tab will be your contact tab. We will be adding an add button to this screen, which will allow the project monitor, unit monitor, to add project contacts. So if you have the contact for ABC Construction Company or whoever the funding sources are, and you want to put that in here because you may need to contact them, you will be able to put the information into this screen. It's just not enabled just yet. Again, that's under development as we speak. Okay, so that covers the unit monitoring login also. Does anyone have any questions for this? No. John, is there anything else I missed?
No, and Keith has been answering the questions that have been posted to the chat while you've been presenting, so
Okay, great.
he seems up to date with those.
Okay. All right, Keith, is there anything else you want me to review from these 2 logins? Did I cover it all for you?
I think so. So, and I just want to reiterate to everyone, we're trying our best to get this rolled out to help all the municipalities comply with what the law is currently requiring. And this is a bare bones first rollout type of thing. We will be making some improvements as time moves forward. And upon request, we'll be able to consider, if you notice that there's functionalities that you wish was there that wasn't, we'll certainly be able to consider those. One of the things that everyone sort of needs to keep in mind is that with the new legislation, the way it is, the roles and responsibilities of DCA in this process are a bit changed from where they used to be. So we're only focusing, the legislation only has us focusing on the monitoring information, trust funds and units, and the administrative agents and MHLs that we'll talk about at another time. So, how units, for example, how units are credited to a plan is really not anything that is part of what the system is about, and that's what the Affordable Housing Dispute Resolution Program at the Administrative Office of the Courts will be dealing with. Like, so for example, if you had a site that was in your third round plan that received a judgment of compliance from the court, and there were, it was a 20-unit project, and you only needed 10 of them to address your third round obligation, and then the other 10 are being counted towards your fourth round obligation. That's really something for the court to figure out in terms of when they issue a compliance certification. Our only responsibility is to report that whether those 20 units are completed and what the characteristics associated with them are. So there's a little bit of a change in functionality from what the CTM system used to do and what the AHMS is going to do. So I just want to make everybody clear about that. So that's about it. Unless anybody else has any other questions, we can try to do the hand raising thing and see if the microphone unmute function works today. Or if not, there we go. So now I got to figure out okay, Wyatt, all right, see if you can unmute yourself now.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I had so for the September 16th deadline, is all the information for the unit monitoring and the trust fund report to be submitted through this portal?
Yes.
Okay. How would you go? Is there a button we have to click to formally submit the report, or is it just going to be checking?
Yeah. So that wasn't illustrated. So what we'll be building into it is, once you complete your monitoring for a given period of time, you'll be able to click a submit button, and there'll be probably some sort of a certification that goes along with that, basically just saying, I certify that the information is accurate and complete as of whatever date, and you just sign it and click, and when you fill that out, you submit button will light up and you'll be able to submit it, and that will be the submission. I just want to on that issue, the legislation is, probably not allowed to say this publicly, but the legislation is a little bit funky in that, it's got this September 16th deadline for now, and then it also requires subsequent annual reporting on February 15th of each year. So, if you think about it, where, the legislation said within 180 days. So that's why September 16th is what it is. But what are you actually reporting on at that point in time? You're obviously not going to be reporting on everything through September 15th. That would be, something that would not be really feasible in most cases. So the way we're going to construe things is that for the February 15th annual monitoring moving forward, we're going to look at that as being calendar year reporting for the previous calendar year. So when you submit stuff for February 15th, that's going to be your trust fund reporting through January or through December 31st of 2024. And same thing with the units. As far as the September 16th part of it goes, if you're entering the information anyway, it almost doesn't matter if it's through, September 1st or August 31st or, whatever. But in keeping with the same vein of the reporting being reflective of some close of operations that was 45 days earlier. I would say that what's being reported on September 16th should at least be complete through July 31st of 2024, if that makes sense. Does that
Yes, that
make
makes sense.
Okay.
I was also wondering if they could demonstrate how to submit formally through the portal.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
If they could demonstrate on the screen how to formally submit the reports through the portal.
I said that I don't think that that button is active yet because everything is going through a batch of firewalls and security things. So because their system is on the staging side of things, it's not actually connected to all those required things. But there will be a clear and obvious button of some sort that says, submit. So with the document uploading thing, probably won't be necessary for the September 16th reporting. But when we get into the normal routine part of things, which is going to be the February 15th annual reporting for the previous calendar year, one of the requirements for the trust fund reporting is going to be in that upload screen that Anthony demonstrated, a year-end closeout bank statement so that the reporting can be reconciled. And that'll all be tied together, and it'll be obvious. There'll be a nice big button that says submit or something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think Darlene, you were next up. So let's see. See if you can unmute yourself, Darlene. Oh, you should be able to. No? Okay, keep trying. I'm gonna move on to Christine. Christine, see if you can unmute your own mic.
Darlene text, I'm sorry, Keith. Darlene actually put her comment in the chat.
Oh, sorry, I was too busy talking to read chats.
No, it's all good. I guess
So
because
let's
she couldn't
see.
talk, she put it in there.
Had an account in the old system that was handled by the previous municipal clerk who is no longer with us. I have no login information. Do I register as a new account? Yes. Please tell me what municipality that is and what clerk it is so I can make a correction to the system. No, yes.
Yep.
Franklin Borough. All right, Franklin Borough. Sussex County. Okay. If you're the new municipal clerk, send me an email and I'll get you in the system right away. My email address is keith.henderson@dca.nj.gov. Right. Joanne, you would know if you had access because you would have created an account. And if you're a municipal employee and you want to send me an email with your information, I will do what I can to have you added. We typically want to have these new additions authorized by somebody who has some level of authority within the municipality, like a municipal manager, clerk, administrator, something like that. If you're the clerk and you're administering yourself, then or you're authorizing yourself, then that's certainly fine. So let's see. So where was I?
You're on me, Christine.
Okay, go ahead, Christine.
So I have a similar problem. We used to use CTM for several years and then we stopped using it. I actually tried to log on and it's saying that I'm inactive. So I just wanted to check, is there a way to make that active again, or do I just wait and log into the new system?
Well, as is always the case, the answer is it depends. So, um, did you change employment or something, or
No, no. Mm-mm.
What's your name, ma'am?
Christine, and the last name's DEY.
Let's see. Let's take a quick peek. 1 second.
I see you as active as trust fund monitoring for Reddington Township.
Okay, it would not let me log in when I tried.
Did you forget your password or something?
Nope. I have to write them down or I will forget, but it is written down.
I don't
Her
know.
account is in and it did migrate to the new system, Keith.
Christina,
Never
I will
mind.
have to try to look at it afterwards. Did your email just change or anything like that? Are you
No.
still, we had you as ss@reddingtontownship.nj.org.
Correct. Yeah, Reddington. Yep, that's correct.
Okay. Is your My New Jersey account set up under that same email address or under a personal email address?
No, it's set up under that same email address.
Don't know why then. We'll have to explore it a little bit and find out why.
Okay, thank you.
It looks like you were set up a very long time ago.
Yeah.
So who knows what might have happened since then? But look into it.
Thank you.
Okay, so next up, I think we had
San.
Jennifer, or,
San is next.
okay.
San, can you unmute yourself?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a question, I want to be clear about this. So, on the 16 townships or municipalities throughout the state have to enter in the information of, residential and non-residential fees collected, expended. Now, typically on anniversary of every settlement agreement for different towns, typically we prepare reports that are submitted to the court master. Do we still do that, or I have two-part question. Do I still need to do we all still need to do that? A, B, does if yes, then does it get submitted on this portal?
So we don't know what the administrative office of the courts is going to do. The
Okay.
legislation requires them to develop some sort of a procedure for moving forward with what they're calling the fourth round. The fourth round plans, if you look at the time schedule that's in the legislation, your municipality is not going to be actually developing a fourth round plan and submitting it to the administrative office of the courts until
June.
probably next June
Yeah,
or July or thereabouts, depending on what happens in between with
right.
whether there are, objections or, whatever. So
Okay.
I don't know what the courts require. I mean, one of the reasons why some of these data sets are a little bit out of date is because during the third round, municipalities were dealing with the courts one-on-one. Everything was an individual submission of under a motion for declaratory judgment or in response to exclusionary litigation. And the courts just handled all of those cases just the way they handle all of their cases. It's just an individual case. And nothing was sort of consolidated and put forth into any sort of standardized data collection system that monitored unit production or what projects were included in court certified plans and what units were part of those, how they were being used. None of that information was shared by the courts with DCA. So as a result, we don't have that information to fall back on and pull into the system, and we don't know what their ongoing requirements are going to be. So if you believe in belt and suspenders, probably both.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think now we're on to Jennifer.
Jennifer doesn't have a microphone, Keith, but I answered her question in chat.
Okay,
I took care of
so,
Jennifer.
and so the question, I guess everybody can just read for themselves, but uh, searching transactions by to and from dates, is that a possibility? And the answer is yes. Okay. I don't see any other questions. So there
Keith, they're
being
looking
none,
for your email address real quick again. What is
I'll
it?
put, how about if I put it in here? Right, so everybody's got that. I'm gonna probably regret that sometime. Um, I can help people out as best as possible, but I can't help out 564 people at once. So I'm one person right now. Hopefully we'll have some more staff in the very near future. Looking forward to that and some of the relief that that's gonna bring for both us and for all of you, because you'll have more team resources to be rely on. So if there's nothing else, then I just want to thank everybody for participating and looking forward to working with everybody. I know this is a lot of this stuff is a heavy lift. The legislation put some pretty short time frames on things and put a lot of monitoring requirements into the law. It's taking us as much as a task to overcome as it is you. But together, I think as a team, we can all pool our resources and make sure that everything gets done. And just want to assure you that we're here to try to help you out as best as possible. And let's just plod forward and help each other out as best as we can. So that being said and done, I think that's it. I see more chat things popping up, but are we done with that?
I took care of it, Keith.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so thank you, everybody. My next task here is to try to figure out how to close and save this recording. Actually, one thing I forgot to sort of share. We do have some information on our DCA webpage at the moment. We've got a a webpage that we built that has very, very, very limited information on it at the moment. But it will be the place that we will be able to post some updates from time to time as we have updates to post. Right now, all it talks about is the fact that we're doing the training on this system and has links to the webinars that we've done so far. But that page will become the new central repository for updates, although we will also probably try to send out municipal alerts via the GovConnect system, or what I guess new thing for me, but I guess they call them eggs. I don't know what an egg is, but I called it GovConnect. So that should be it. And I'm going to try to end this and save this recording. So we'll have a recording of some sort on this page at some time in the near future. So thank you again, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you.
Stop recording.